It looked like a clear-cut suicide. A quiet street, a locked bedroom door, and a note that seemed to say everything. When police entered the home of Rachel Monroe, they found her sitting on the floor, back against the bed, a half-empty bottle of pills beside her. She was 34, a nurse, a mother of one. The note on the nightstand read, "I'm sorry. I can't fight anymore." The detectives closed the case in hours. Self-inflicted, they said. No signs of foul play. But Rachel's sister, Megan, didn't believe it, because Rachel had never been the kind to give up, and there were things in that room the police never noticed. Things that didn't belong. And a year later, when a DNA test came back from evidence long dismissed, it told a story that shattered everything they thought they knew. Rachel Monroe had lived her life with quiet precision. She was the dependable one, the nurse who picked up extra shifts, the mother who kept her son's school lunches labeled by day of the week, the sister who always remembered birthdays. Her younger sister Megan was the opposite, impulsive, outspoken, the kind who questioned everything. And when Rachel died, Megan didn't cry right away. She went still, the kind of stillness that comes when grief and suspicion arrive at the same time. The lead investigator on the case, Detective Harris, had seen hundreds of scenes like this. To him, it was simple, a woman alone, overworked, and quietly struggling. He ruled it suicide within 48 hours. But Megan noticed the things Harris didn't. Rachel's phone was missing. Her car keys were gone. And on the kitchen counter, 2 mugs. One clean, one freshly used. Someone had been there. Megan begged the department to reopen the case. Harris refused. The toxicology matched the pills, he said. There's no evidence of anyone else. So Megan started her own investigation. She began with Rachel's life in the weeks before her death. Her sister had just broken off a relationship with a coworker, Dr. Evan Cross, an ER physician known for his charm and his temper. The two had argued at the hospital days before she died. Witnesses recalled Rachel saying, "You don't get to control me anymore." When Megan told the police, Harris brushed it off. "He's a doctor," he said. "He's not our guy." But something about that dismissive tone made Megan dig deeper. She found messages on Rachel's old laptop, dozens of them, from a blocked number. Short, threatening lines. "You'll regret this. Don't talk to anyone. We both know what you did." The text had stopped exactly one day before Rachel's death. A year passed. Megan refused to move on. And then, by chance, a new detective took over the department's cold case review board. Her name was Detective Elena Ruiz, a meticulous, data-driven investigator who believed that every closed case deserved one more look. She pulled Rachel's file and noticed something missing. No DNA analysis had ever been done on the wine glass beside Rachel's bed. Ruiz ordered a re-examination. The results changed everything. The DNA on the rim of the glass wasn't Rachel's. It belonged to a man. Ruiz tracked the DNA sample through the state database. It didn't match any known offenders. But when cross-referenced through genealogy networks, one partial match appeared. A distant relative registered under the name Cross. The name was familiar. Evan Cross. When Ruiz looked deeper, the timeline became undeniable. Cross had been working the overnight shift at the hospital the night Rachel died, but his clock-in was manually entered after midnight. Surveillance footage near Rachel's neighborhood showed a black sedan matching his car model passing her street at 10:47 p.m. Still, it wasn't enough for an arrest. Ruiz needed one more piece, and Megan, determined as ever, gave it to her. While clearing out Rachel's belongings for the first time since the funeral, Megan found a small leather-bound notebook. Inside were daily notes, quiet reflections written in neat handwriting. The entries grew darker in the final weeks. "He waits outside. He says no one will believe me. If anything happens, tell them to test the glass." The last line was underlined twice. That was enough. Detective Ruiz ordered a full forensic comparison between the DNA on the wine glass and a sample from Dr. Cross's personal effects. The match was perfect. When confronted, Dr. Cross denied everything. He claimed Rachel invited him over, that they'd talked, that she'd been drinking heavily and insisted on taking pills despite his protests. But the evidence said otherwise. The dosage in her system was lethal. nearly 3 times what she'd ever been prescribed. And fingerprints on the pill bottle, wiped clean, except for his thumbprint on the cap. Cross's confident tone began to fracture under Ruiz's quiet questioning. He leaned forward, trembling slightly, and said something that made everyone in the room pause. "She wanted it that way. She said I should help her." Ruiz replied softly. "She didn't ask you to help her die. She asked for help to live." The evidence was overwhelming, but the case was far from over. Because while Cross was taken into custody, his attorney produced something no one expected. A second DNA profile from the crime scene. Someone else had been there that night. Someone who hadn't spoken until now. Megan sat in the back of the courtroom, her sister's notebook clutched tight in her hands. Justice was close, but the truth, it seemed, was still hiding in plain sight. And the man who killed her sister might not have acted alone. In a world where files close too quickly in grief is labeled as hysteria, it took a sister's stubborn love and a strand of DNA to prove what the system refused to see. Rachel Monroe didn't take her own life. Someone took it from her, and the glass she left behind, the one the police ignored, spoke louder than any note ever could. This was Trace Crime Files. Subscribe for more stories where truth is stranger than fiction, and justice is never as simple as it seems.